So welcome. I'm sorry we've had a bit of a belated start this afternoon with some technical issues, but welcome to our November online tourism update. We haven't had one for a while. The last one we had was in September because October we had the destination management planning meeting. So thank you for joining us on those. So before we get too much further today, I just wanted to acknowledge the traditional country that we're all hosted on today, but particularly pay our respects to the Kabi Kabi Yinaba and Turrbal traditional custodians, their elders past, present and emerging, which our region operates on. So we thank them for their custodianship, and my special thing is I always like to just stop and take a moment and look at the beautiful natural assets that we've got in the region and just thank them for everything that they've done for us. So I definitely would recommend just taking a pause. Robert, you're out there on the bay, just looking out there and just remembering that if it wasn't for our traditional custodians, we wouldn't have those beautiful assets that we have today. So that's what I always like to look at when I thank them. Today's agenda, we'll be looking at, Moreton Bay Tourism Award winners. We've had a lot of awards happening over the last couple of weeks. Update on industry workshops and conferences and events that are happening, coming, and things you need to lock into your diary for 2023. I almost said 32. That's too far in advance. I'm thinking Olympic Games. Marketing update from Ash and special guest speakers. So we've got Mel McMahon with us today, who's going to be talking about the What's On Moreton Bay region, and Brendan from Spinal Life, who'll be talking about the Moreton Bay Enable Business Program. So just to get started, we just want to congratulate our 22 Moreton Bay Business Innovation Award winners. So Terry Lopez from Brisbane Whale Watching took out the Award for Businesswoman of the Year, and Ocean View Estates was awarded the Visit Moreton Bay Award for Tourism Business Excellence. So congratulations to those two businesses, and particularly Kerry. She's 26 years of advocacy for whale watching from departing from Redcliffe. So congratulations to her. I was thrilled to hear that this year she saw 52 babies, which is just a reflection on the advocacy work that she's done over the years and the increase in numbers of whales. So I think when she started, there was a little over 10,000, and now she's talking like 30,000 whales go past our region annually. So that's huge. Also, just want to acknowledge our finalists for this year's Business Awards. So it was fantastic to see tourism operators entering more than just the Tourism Business Excellence category. So we had finalists across a diversity of categories. So just take a bit of time to read those, and obviously this presentation will be made available to you post today's session. But the innovation and excellence, so Loverberry and Drone Games, like congratulations to those guys for making the finalist list. It's exciting to see businesses thinking outside of just their place in the tourism space. So what's really exciting this year is we have already opened submissions for 2023. So in the past, we've had comment around that submissions open and you're coming into busy season. We've already opened, so that gives you a good 6 months to really look through the award category questions and really start to look at your answers to those questions. So I highly recommend just going in and looking through the guide that was released this year, because it really breaks down how to answer the questions for the judges, and that information guide was actually produced in consultation with judge feedback from the last two years. So use it as a guide, and as the opportunities arise to participate in face-to-face workshops on how to submit for an awards, I can advise that some of our winners from this year did actually attend those workshops. So it just shows that attendance to those offerings really does help you to understand how to answer the questions that could make you an award winner. I also wanted to advise, I'm not sure if you've seen, we took out a gold and silver. So we've got Nikki Young on the call today. Nikki's volunteer program took out silver, an outstanding contribution by a volunteer or volunteer program group. So once again, that's an award-winning program. Nikki, how many years have we been winning that award for?
I think this is the 3rd year, but we didn't win last year. So
okay,
there you go. I think we've got 2 silvers and a bronze.
Oh, fantastic. And this year we're delighted to advise that we actually beat Australia Zoo. So that's our take home. And Lucy and Jobin Thompson from Ayala Park Lodge won gold for Judges' Choice Award. So we are so delighted and thrilled for them. They applied for the first year of business, what was it? The tourism business category, start out category. Were unsuccessful in ranking for bronze, silver, or gold in that category, but then took out what we consider the major prize, which was the judge's choice. So congratulations to them both. I believe they're still a little bit like shell-shocked that they were up on stage on the night, and it's a huge kudos to the amount of work that they've put into their business in the last 12 months. So they are a new business. We believe they may be the only First Nations owned accommodation provider in Queensland currently. So they're doing a lot of work in the First Nations space. So keep an eye out for them. They've only can cater for 10, it's a very small bed and breakfast product, but they're looking to expand that over the next 12 months. So make sure you keep them on your radar. Events that you need to put in your calendar for the end of this year. So we've actually got our tourism networking breakfast tomorrow morning at Any Lane. So if you can join us, that would be fantastic. We are delivering in partnership with Spinal Life a Good Access is Good Business workshop on the 29th of November from 2 to 3:30. And Brendan will touch a little bit on what's going to be covered in that and the opportunities through our partnership with Spinal Life. And we also have our Tourism Christmas Networking event on the 7th of December at the Debra Drop. So we'd love to see you all there. That's going to be a good one. Stacey and her team, I believe, are going to be doing a little bit of a showcase of local produce and I believe some local gins. So be sure to maybe have a designated driver. You can RSVP to any of these events at the embret.com.au tourism-industry-networking-events page. And again, we can include that in the chat for you. Other events that you will want to look at locking into your diary for your consideration for next year is the World Indigenous Tourism Summit. So that's actually a global summit that's delivered in different parts. I think it's biannually. So delighted to see that come to our shores next year in March. So Perth will be the location. We also have and Robert, you were asking about the Australian Tourism Exchange, ATE 2023. So MBRET will be taking Moreton Bay region to ATE. ATE is the buyers, where we put industry in front of buyers. And we have Nicole from our team, who unfortunately isn't able to join us today because she's actually out on Unibara country with a local custodian doing a Indigenous immersive experience out there. But Nicole will be leading the ATE engagement piece. So just keep an eye out for our future emails around what that's going to look like and the opportunity for operators to participate in the Moreton Bay region stand at ATE 23. Also put into your diary the Accessible and Inclusive Tourism Conference in May. So they tentatively launched some dates for the start of May just before ATE. So I'm assuming it may actually be at the same location. So the dates I saw was today actually was the 1st of May, but it hadn't been confirmed yet. But that'll be a great conference. And Dane, who's on the call today, thank you so much for letting me be your special guest at last year's conference. I took a lot away from that experience in terms of just things to start thinking about from a destination marketing perspective. And then finally, Destination Q. So we hosted industry at Destination Q last week. Dates for 23 were announced. So it'll be up at Cairns on the 23rd of November. So normally around Destination Q, you have Destination IQ, which is the First Nations forum the day before on the Wednesday, and with the Tourism Awards on the Friday. So also just keep an eye out for the Queensland Tourism Award nomination announcement, which will normally come out at the start of the year, and just really consider whether that's something that you would like to explore nominating for. And if that is the case, please reach out to Embrit. We're here to support you with your nomination. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Ash.
Janae, I won't take up too much of your time, guys. I actually am very lucky to have COVID for the second time this year at the moment, so I'm not overly well. So we'll sort of speed through this little bit from me. So just touching really briefly on some of the brand refresh stuff that I know a lot of you have already seen in some of the industry engagement workshops we've been doing. So far, we are now up to sort of stage 5, 6, 7. So 5 was where we'd left off, which is the territory development, which we've moved into, and we've basically developed off the back of the data that we collected through our qualitative and quantitative stuff. Renee, can I just get you to flip to the next slide, please? So for those that didn't come along to any of those industry engagement workshops, this is sort of a brief overview of what those steps included and where we're at. Again, we will flick this over to everyone and you'll have the slides available so that you can have a look at this afterwards. But just so you're all up to date, we're at that brand territory stage where we've now developed the internal statement. The consumers won't see this statement. It's a distilled statement of what we want to stand for in the minds of our visitors against our competitors, and it's going to be used to inform the creative piece. For example, our brand tagline and our visual identity. I know that our creative agency have now briefed their creative team to start the brand redefinement and the development of our brand assets. So that's really exciting, and we're hoping to have that probably in the next sort of month. Then we obviously still have our current campaign, which is the Accessible Moreton Bay, which is going really well. It's only been up for a few weeks, and obviously we've got all of those awesome guides and itineraries on our website. Just some little things to remember when you're looking at your accessible business, which I know myself and some of us picked up at the Destination Q forum, was to just, when listing things on your website, make sure it's as detailed as possible. For example, is your door, sorry, my dog is going nuts. Is your door frame wide enough, or how high it is? Do you have a ramp? How bright are your lights, or is the AC temperature monitored, etc. I know that we're going to touch more on the accessible business stuff very shortly, so I won't keep on that, but just a reminder that 2023 was announced as the year of accessible tourism. So that's really exciting, and we have got some awesome resources and opportunities where you can get involved if you head to the link, which will be popped into the chat. And again, we'll discuss more of that shortly. Then finally, looking ahead, we've got obviously summer coming up. So we will look to do a summer campaign. Normally we sort of do our marquee campaign around summer, but with the brand refresh, we want to tie that in with a pretty decent campaign sort of beginning of next year. So this will just be what we'd sort of nominate as an off-peak campaign. So if we can just get you thinking about some things that you might want to be involved with. So you could be involved with blogs and itinerary inclusions. You could tell us about any specials, or I am so sorry, any specials coming up, or also just tagging and keeping us up to date with anything that's going on digitally. Then finally from me, the Visitor Guide front cover competition is live. So in case you missed it, we're running a photography competition for the front cover of our 2023 Visitor Guide. Just some quick stats. We send 50,000 copies out nationally to the Vic. And the digital asset sits on our website, which does get over 1 million views each year. So yes, how can you be involved? You can enter yourself or pass it on to a friend.
Thanks, Ash. Do we get to see the puppy? Ash has got a puppy. He's adorable.
There you go.
Cutest contributor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hand straight over to our special guest now that we've had the puppy join our meeting. So over to Mel McMahon. So Mel's been with Embrit, I'm going to say 6 years. Mel now leads the community marketing piece. So Mel, over to you.
Thanks, Renee. 6 years is correct in about 2 weeks. So as Renee mentioned, I'm currently looking after our new brand, which is What's on Moreton Bay. We launched in July this year, so it's still a very new brand for us. The goal of it is to be, I guess, the ultimate guide to what's on in Moreton Bay. So we list every event you can think of in the Moreton Bay region. So that's just a screenshot there of the homepage. So we've got community events, we've got major festivals, we host concerts on there, dining events, anything that is open to the public and located in the Moreton Bay region can be hosted on What's on Moreton Bay. So we wanted to bring this to your attention today, guys, to showcase it to you, to bring it to your attention essentially, and get you guys listing your events on What's on Moreton Bay. So it is free to list an event on What's on Moreton Bay. We've got just a few top tips there on the screen. Essentially, to list it, just head straight to the website, list whatsonmoretonbay.com.au/list my event. Have a quick read through those top tips there. We recommend good quality photography so that your event listing looks as eye-catching as possible. Avoid poster imagery wherever you can. It just doesn't look pretty on the website, but we are welcome to use them in the gallery images. Also recommend including as much information as possible about your events, just to fill out that description and give any people coming to the website as much information as possible on that event. And then obviously all your social media links, you want your basic event details included. Also in the What's on Moreton Bay suite, we have got a Facebook page, a Instagram page, and a What's on group. So the What's on group has a current following of 14,000. It's a very engaged group. If you're listing your event on our website, I highly recommend then listing onto the sharing your event onto the What's on group. We get lots of engagement there with people commenting and sharing on those posts as well. And yeah, I guess just in summary, just make sure you guys, if you've got any events coming up for your event, for your businesses, make sure you post them up, list the events onto What's On, and then just post into those groups. If you ever have any issues submitting your events onto What's on Moreton Bay, my details are on the screen right there. Happy to help you guys. It's a really simple form. You just basically follow through and you can then just hit the submit button. We will then go through a quick approval process and then it's live onto What's on Moreton Bay region.
Thanks, Mel. And from that too, I believe there's like content and things that potentially get developed too by editorial teams. Like they kind of pull everything together. So for instance, coming into New Year's and Christmas period, will you guys have anything specifically around collating those special events together?
Yeah, so from the What's On website content, we then do use that content to fill out our social media. So our Facebook and our Instagram, we have a regular email as well. So those, for example, as Renee said, the New Year's events, could then pull that into a category which is featured into the newsletter, which goes out to our audience as well. At the moment, that's a fortnightly email, but looking to build up to a weekly email soon.
Great. And so particularly for accommodation providers who may have people staying with them over the Christmas period, is the best way they can subscribe to that email through that website link you've got profiled?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you go to What's on Moreton Bay region, there's a big subscribe button at the top, and then you can join our email database from there.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mel.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so just on to our next guest. Brendan from Spinal Life will be presenting today on the Moreton Bay Enabled Business Program. I'll just hand it over to you, Brendan.
Thanks, Renee. Hi, everybody. My name's Brendan. I'm from Spinal Life Australia. And so you heard before that we've got a workshop on the 29th of November coming up that Embred is helping us to host, which is about good access is good business. So the overview of that workshop is about educating businesses why good access is good business, and then the how to become more accessible to their customers with disabilities. And then on the back of that, we've also got a brand new program called the Enable Businesses Program. It's only available to businesses in the Moreton Bay region. And it's a new program designed to provide practical assistance to Moreton Bay businesses to build their workplace disability confidence. And it does that by helping them to become more welcoming and inclusive. It's a 12-month program. It's led by Spinal Life Australia. And the program is being funded by the Queensland State Government Growing Workforce Participation Fund. So it's a no-cost service to you. We'll work with you one-on-one and to allow you to become more confident in 3 ways. So that's by helping you to retain and support staff. So helping to support and retain employees who may acquire a disability or who may have a disability that is not visible and not disclosed, so that this skilled talent is not lost. It will help you to expand talent pool by helping you to link in with disability employment service providers in the region, and also some of our own members who may be looking. And it also helps with a focus on customer service. So 1 in 6 Australians have a disability, and there may be stakeholders as well. So it's an individual business review which will be undertaken, and the process looks like a business analysis meeting, a disability friendly check, which is not an audit as such. It's just a friendly review, which we then give you a brief template report on, just with some easy win changes that can be implemented to make the business more welcoming and accessible to customers and employees. So there's a 6-week education focus to it. So part of that is the disability friendly check. We also do a recommendations report and meeting. So there's a meeting for each of the 3 phases. So there's the business analysis meeting, where we get to know your business and what your needs are, so that we can tailor our mentoring to that. Then there's the disability friendly check, and then there's the recommendations report. There's also then the good access is good business workshops that we previously mentioned. So the scope of the program is entirely up to the business as well. So it's not a hard and fast process. It's completely tailored to the business. Thank you very much.
Quickly flick through there. So there's Brendan's details. And again, just back to the Good Access is Good Business workshop. I just want to point out that we are the pilot program for the whole of the state, Moreton Bay Regional Council area. So I just really want to thank Spinal Life Australia for the partnership that we've had over the last few years, because we wouldn't be able to provide industry with these opportunities without that past work that's been done. So thank you so much to Brendan, Dane, Ross and the team for your participation and partnership over the last few years. And, we've seen changes even within what Embred has been providing with the business awards this year, having an access and inclusion awards category. So I'm delighted that we can continue to participate in being part of the conversation. And hearing your story today, Robert, do you want to just share what you've done in your business? I know you were sharing with a small group at the start, having Dane come down and look at the boats.
Yeah. So, we were interested in making sure that everything we had was as accessible as possible, but we hadn't designed that in at the beginning, and we were quite pessimistic about it. But Dane was introduced to us from a business we work with, and he was so cool. He came out with another gentleman and had a look at our boats, and it turns out the things we did to make it easy to get in and out of the water when you're snorkeling also made it easy to get on the boat. And we've got this flat area that exactly meets the jetty. And then we looked into it later. There's 3 or 4 jetties in Brisbane that we could use where it's pretty much within 5 to 10 mil of everything. But when we were there, the boat was really tied to the jetty. It was almost the same level. And Dane just rolled on and said, well, there you go. And then we said, but we thought the aisles were too narrow. And he's like, well, on aeroplanes, they have these special wheelchairs that are aisle chairs, and you can roll right up, and you just have to make this armrest removable. This is all like trivial stuff. So, I mean, we could do a really bodgy job in half an hour if we had the right tools, but of course we'll do a professional one. But we went from thinking it's probably impossible without like welders and cutting things and to going, oh, this is totally doable. And then and our directors are very excited because they always had this dream of just introducing people in the city to, you know, the bay and the sand and just getting people outdoors. And then this is even more the case for people who have a sight disability or somewhat have difficulty in getting out. So we're really excited about just seeing people's faces when they just feel the salt water and the breeze and see the water rushing by. And then Dane also gave us a lot of advice about our website construction. He was saying, like, this photo we have of people walking down the stairs onto the beach, if he saw that, he would straight away assume it's not for him. So we need to label that stuff straight away and go, yeah, we have options for you guys too. And anyway, there was a lot of very easy advice that made us very happy that we could be a lot more inclusive and just a more rewarding job and a lot of fun. So I think we're going to get initial thing wrapped up in the next 4 weeks and trial it for a while. And then we're going to engage with all of these many programs, including yours, and make a really great job at it once we've had Dane and some customers come on board and hear all of their input. Because as I think it was Brendan was saying earlier, and the thing I keep hearing when I go to these things is, you know, we think of people in wheelchairs, but other people just have difficulty walking or they're afraid of outdoors. There's lots of things to think through. And as we meet these people and listen and feel, we'll work it out. It'll be fine. We're frankly excited. I think the staff are excited about putting this together.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Robert, because I think it's really valuable when people start to hear like how easy it can be to just start the journey and implement just a few things. And then it's sort of, you know, it's a catalyst for other things to come. And I know even with, you know, Embro and the events we deliver, that's definitely been part of our journey too. Like we now have quiet zones at all the major festivals that we're specifically targeting kids, and we work with an occupational therapy organisation that has a therapy dog, so which is really cool. So Darcy usually comes along and the kids just love him. So yeah. Okay, great. Well, I think that actually wraps up today. Did anyone have any questions that they would like to throw out there, or we've got Spinal Life on the call that you would you'd like to ask? I'll stop sharing my screen so I can see everyone.
I'll jump in there. Dane here from Spinal Life. Thanks, Robert, for the feedback, and I'm glad you got something out of it. But I also think that there's some important messaging there coming from you as an operator, in the fact that, you know, there's this opportunity ahead of us, which is the Year of Accessible Tourism, and there's a market out there specifically, you know, that we're looking to cater to. But it doesn't need to be hard, and it doesn't need to be scary, and doesn't need to be overwhelming. There's a starting point. You know, we talk to disability, and it's so wide and varied. There's only, you know, 4% of people with disability who use wheelchair permanently and full time. So it's not all about ramps and wide doorways and access. You can start now with the operation that you run and the facility that you have right now. It's just by becoming welcoming and inclusive in your offering and in your attitude. So, yeah, they're the small and early and easy wins, with a plan to obviously, you know, increase your market and increase that accessibility factor. But yeah, the next year is when that can all happen, hopefully with you know, a bit of funding injected from the state government and a bit of a welcoming attitude from everyone else.
Any other questions? No, well, we're going to wrap it up for a meeting that started a little bit behind time. We've really powered through that today. So please reach out to the team if you want any additional information on specific things that were shared today. As Ash said, we'll go out very shortly with information around the summer campaign. Definitely take a look at what's on Moreton Bay region. And I know from having worked many years in digital marketing, New Year's Eve events usually crash. Get so much traffic on our website. So people are actively looking for things to do on New Year's Eve in Moreton Bay region. So if you are delivering an event, please post it, because we're always looking to send people somewhere, and obviously accommodation providers, that is incredibly invaluable to you, because I'm sure you're going to be asked a lot of questions around what people can do on their stay this summer. So be sure to check out that platform. Let's leave it for today. Again, thank you for joining us and for your patience. And thank you, Ash, for bringing the puppy into our meeting today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.